Hello, I am Jennifer Roig-Francolí. I'm the creator of The Art of Freedom for Musicians. I'm a certified Alexander technique teacher and a professional violinist. I play both modern violin and Baroque violin. I had a recent request from one of my artistic mastery coaching students. She was hoping that I could share a little bit of my own practicing on the Bach D minor Partita No. 2 first movement, the Allemanda. And she also had a specific question about there's a long slur that Bach wrote into about halfway through the first half, and she's wondering how to do that. How is it possible to get back to the frog to do that whole slur? Now, many more traditional, romantic, modern type players on the modern violin usually don't do that long slur, but I like to do it. Coming from a Baroque background, Baroque style, we do it because it's authentic to what Bach wrote. And Bach was an excellent violinist, and he actually meant what he wrote, and he wanted the slurs that he wrote in. So those of us that appreciate that, we try to do the slurs that he wrote. And that one is challenging. So I think I'm just going to play this first half, and I might stop here and there a little bit, and definitely I will talk about that slur when we get there. But I also want to add that the most important thing for me is to put all of my practicing always, as much as possible, much as humanly possible, always into the context of my overall well-being, meaning I want to be more mindful and present to what I'm actually doing, to how I'm thinking, what's going on in my mind when I'm playing this instrument. Are my thoughts helpful, or are they constructive, or are they negative and destructive, causing tension that will get in the way? And I'm wanting to take care of my physical body, and that all starts in the mind. So how you think is translated into how your body responds to those thoughts, always. What you think is what you get in your body. So if I'm thinking, uh-oh, I don't know if I can do that slur, my body's going to get tight, and that actually is a self-sabotage. It's going to make everything I do harder if I think that way. So I want to be very much aware of how I'm thinking and the effects my thoughts have on my body and therefore on my playing. I also want to be in touch with my emotions, and even more importantly, the emotions of the music. They're not necessarily different, but I don't want to superimpose my emotions by trying to make feeling happen in the music. The feeling is already there, and my job as a musician is actually to get out of the way and let the music speak through me. Easier said than done. That's why we practice. All of these things are my ideal. I can't always do this. I get in my way just like everybody else, but I have practiced the Alexander technique for many years, and I teach it. So I do have the tools to help myself do less interfering with my natural design and the natural expression that the music requires. So, but this is why we practice, to be able to integrate all these things to positive effect for great music. All right, so this is a piece that I've played for much of my life. I'm just coming back to it this year. I've been working more on the chaconne, less on this movement, but I'm just going to work on this a little bit right now for my coaching student that I mentioned. So this is for her, but I'm doing it for all of you because it may be useful to someone else out there. So before I dive in, which would be my habit, I would just want to get started, and you may be getting impatient. You're like, when's she gonna play? But I need to not be impatient, because if I get impatient, I'll get tight, and again, that is counterproductive. So I'm really taking my time, and I'm doing my Alexander constructive thinking, which are very specific thoughts that I give myself that allow my body to release excess tension. So I'm doing that right now, taking care of myself. And I have a whole routine, a whole sequence that I've developed called the Violin Compass that helps me lift the instrument and bring it up with minimal tension and effort. And that was the abbreviated, super fast version of the Violin Compass. It's something that I take all of my students through, the students in my group classes as well as my private coaching clients. And sometimes we'll spend a whole class or series of classes just on lifting your instrument with ease and not interfering with tons of tension like that. So again, I'm doing my constructive thinking and taking my time using my 3 magic phrases. If you're curious about those, come over to the Musician's Mind Body Practice Tribe. I talk about my 3 magic phrases in there sometimes. Or private message me if you're curious. And now I'm thinking about Bach, but I am more than thinking about that, I'm really staying present. So I'm not playing yet. I'm just taking care of myself. So I'm going to talk through my practice for my student here, okay? So if you want to hear me actually play, go to YouTube. It's not going to happen much here today. This is practicing. So I love those 2 opening notes. And I like to dwell a little bit on that second note because it sets the stage for the entire partita. The D minor, it's setting that stage. That note is everything. It says, here we are, this is what we're going to be doing for the next half hour, or however long the partita is. So again, being present to my experience, doing my constructive thinking. So you'll see I didn't make it metronomic. It's kind of timeless. I feel like that down bow is a timeless note. And then this note, that's in Baroque music, you always want to be thinking about the chords. The underlying harmonies are the most important. And so you want to bring out the dissonances. That's a very dissonant chord, and this is the lowest one, so I really want to bring that out. So this is the end of a phrase, and I come down a little bit. But it's also the beginning. Okay, so I'm not going to play it like that, but that was to delineate the poetry of this. I'm going to start again. Taking my time, renewing my centeredness with constructive thinking. And this is just an afterthought. So sometimes I do take liberty with Bach's slurs. Let's call it artistic license. All right, it's at this point in my life and in my career, I'm happy to say I feel comfortable doing whatever I want. And all within reason and all with due respect to Bach, right? And sometimes it even happens that I forget the correct bowing. How terrible. It's not really so terrible. I'm gonna do it the way I do it, and later I might go check and make sure that I didn't screw up a bowing. But honestly, it's the spirit behind it that matters the most. And if you look at the liberties that editors have taken for the last 100 years, I mean, that I don't want to go there. This is more like minimal little things where for a moment I forget the actual slur, but it's really not, I'm not going to beat myself over the head for it if I get one of this, if I'm not that much of a purist, let's put it that way. Otherwise I wouldn't even be playing on this instrument, right? So let me go back to somewhere around there. Again, doing my Alexander constructive thinking, to be present, that's the most important thing. Didn't like that, so I'm going to really come back to myself. I think it was getting too much over here. I want to be more with myself, my whole self. That means balanced. Here comes the famous slur. Look, here's what I do. I'm already at the tip, like, oh my God, how am I going to get down there? You make a big bow on that C, but you have to have it a little bit airy, otherwise it's going to stick out like that. So this takes finesse and practice to be able to move the bow fast and keep it airy and light, so you're not putting an accent on that note. And then the next note is tiny, but it needs to have a little more weight because it's even on the down bow, which is a little more stressed than an up bow generally in Baroque music. And then again, light A, and look, I'm at the bow, at the frog. And then I can do that slur. Now, I know the only reason I can do that so easily is because I spent a lot of time practicing that way back when. I remember how hard this section was to be able to do that long slur, and especially those notes leading up to it. They are a challenge. But I did the work, and somehow it's working. So, but this is what's behind it. It's that you gotta save the bow like your life depends on it when you're at the frog. Don't spend the bow. And also, I take liberty with the tempo, the speed of that slur. Those notes, I don't play them metronomically. But if it fits into the spirit of the phrasing, it's got to make sense, right? It has to make sense in the context. I can't just like rush it because I can't play it, right? I should be able to play it metronomically, but I don't have to because it works to speed it up within reason with the right kind of affect or mood or, you know, the spirit behind it. So I feel comfortable not playing it like a metronome. Bach didn't have metronomes. Bach is not supposed to be metronomic, except maybe more or less in the dance movements, like a jig or something, right? So anyway, back to this. Let's see, it's hard for me to, actually I do have the music right here. I don't want to go back too far. I can't remember where to start offhand, so just checking here. And I know I screwed that slur up earlier, but So, well, okay. Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, Alexander, no rushing, being present. The other trick is to not go all the way to the tip to begin with. Let me do that again. So it's especially, you know, even if you're here, then lift the bow to get to the frog. That's another way to make this easy. Oh, whoops. Or you could hit the table. What am I doing? So it's, of course, the rest is superfluous. It's like fluff. Squeaky E today. Second time around, I don't make such a big deal of that first D. We already know. So I think that's enough for this video today. I hope you found this interesting, useful, and yeah. So if you're not a member of my free Facebook group, come on over and join us. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. You can private message me through Facebook or email me anytime at Jennifer@artoffreedom.me. My website is www.artoffreedom.me. So yeah, I teach the Alexander technique online. I teach it in weekly group classes and also artistic mastery coaching sessions, which are really much more comprehensive and all-inclusive for any instrument, not just violin, and truly any skill level, from beginner to elite professional. So thanks for watching, and I would love to get your feedback if you have anything you want to share. Thanks. Enjoy your practicing. Bye-bye.